Hello and welcome to the Kayden Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here is Pascal Dennis. Pascal, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. So, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself to get started.
Thanks, Kayden. I'm a musician, obviously, and our band is the Crazy Angels. And it's an interesting story. Our producer, David Logan, and I made a record, 30 years ago when we were young and foolish. And the record went nowhere. So we went our separate ways. He went to Hollywood and became a big time music producer in the TV industry. I started a management consulting company. My training is in engineering, and I flew around the world helping companies improve. I kept writing and improving my piano and my guitar and vocal. And David went from strength to strength. I never thought all the songs I was writing would be produced again. But during the pandemic, we suddenly had this time. So I looked up my old friend who was now in Rome, living in Rome. He'd gone there to score some films, and he met a beautiful girl there, and so he lives there now, and he teaches at the oldest music school in Italy and in Europe, actually, Santa Cecilia. And I shared my new songs, and he said, "Whoa, you've gotten a lot better." And so we made one record, which we released last year, called Crazy Angels, and it got a really good review and response. So we just kept going, and now we've got this fantastic band, best young musicians in Rome, multinational band, and we're just having a wonderful time. We're just blessed. We're very lucky.
That's wonderful. So, do you have any advice for those who might want to start singing but doesn't really know how to jump into this industry?
I think it's a really hard industry in the
Mhm.
sense that um, it's just very difficult to make a living. So what I advise young musicians is to make sure that you have a backup gig, because the industry is not friendly to creators. Unfortunately, the tech companies get all the value. So all the wonderful young musicians, composers, and artists don't get the value. So I think you have to have a backup. I was lucky enough to, I quit school for a while and tried to make a living as a musician, ended up going back and completing my engineering. And that gave me the freedom to have a family, and also to be able to write and record music the way I feel it. So I hope that's helpful to young musicians. It's not fair, but it is what it is. So my heart goes out to the young musicians, and that's what I'd suggest that they do.
That is just wonderful advice. I think that is a super important element. I agree with you, Pascal. So, what do you like doing outside of music? Kind of tell me a little bit about hobbies or anything like that.
Um, Gosh, well, I've done boxing for a long time. I've done the martial arts
Hmm.
for a long time. My day job, as I said, is a management consultant. So I've traveled all over the world, and I've been able to write about all those places. Um, yeah, my son and I box together. I don't do it very well. But we get out on the golf course when we can. I'm very committed to my family. And our records are a family affair. My wife is a wonderful videographer and photographer. My daughter Katie is a marketing manager for a major live events company, so she helps us on that end. And our son Matthew is our recording engineer's assistant. So all of that keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that all keeps you really busy.
Yeah. Well, my other advice if I could give to young musicians is have a strong family. You need their support and their
Hmm.
love to get you through the rough times in music when things aren't going so well. So I've been really blessed to have that. So they're my foundation.
And even if it's not as much as you'd love it to be your family, even if it's not your family, like your friends or anybody, just making sure that you have that support, I think, is important.
Yeah. Yeah, support and honest support as well.
Hmm.
For a very long time, my songs weren't that good. I've been writing for a long time, and my
Hmm.
friends were honest. They say that's okay, but it's just okay. And our producer Dave Logan is the same way. He's a great
Hmm.
coach, so you need that kind of honesty. You mustn't fool yourself. The other thing I think that's important is to really get good at your craft. So in my case, that was spending a lot of time with piano lessons and guitar lessons and music composition and singing, because there's a right way to do this. And the greats practice a lot. So you've got to practice in the right way, and show respect for the art, because it's
Hmm.
it's it's a demanding art.
I agree, 1000%. I agree. So here's gonna be a hard one for you. This question I've stumped a lot of people with, and I'm curious to hear your answer. Here we go. So
All right.
if someone was to write a song about you or something that's happened in your life, what would they write about?
I think they'd probably write about my childhood. I mean, our first record is basically my coming of age. My family were migrants, that escaped from Eastern Europe in the early 1950s, from northern Greece, actually, when Greece was like Vietnam or like Afghanistan. So I think people would write about that. So I identify very strongly with country music because it's about dislocation and poverty and mental illness.
Hmm.
All of those were strong elements in my childhood, and I've tried to make sense of it and try to turn something difficult into something beautiful through music. So I
Hmm.
think that would probably be my life story. That's what our first record's about, basically, my coming of age and coming to terms with all that stuff.
Hmm. So let me ask you, what does a tip, or maybe not a typical, but like, what does a day to day look like for you?
In terms of writing uh, and performing, a typical day, I start with vocal music practice. I do a lot of vocalizing. As I said, I took lessons and learned how to sing the right way. So
Hmm.
I'll start the day singing, then I'll practice the piano and the guitar. And then commonly I'll connect with the band and with Dave Logan, our fantastic producer. We'll go over the music that we've recorded in the previous week, and we build our songs layer by layer. And we're
Hmm.
lucky that we've got the technology now that we can communicate in real time and meet in virtual space anytime we want. So all of those things are part of it, and we're really meticulous about the records. So that's probably the main thing. In terms of recording, probably we'll do that after lunch. Don't want to go too late because
Hmm.
a lot of our band members are in Italy, as I said, and it's 6 hours later for them. So those are typical activities for us. I get a lot of coaching from Dave Logan.
Hmm.
He's a genius. So I'll share a lot of time. I'll be sharing new songs. Typically, the way we work is I'll do a sketch, on my
Hmm.
keyboards, guitars, etc. So here's how I hear it. I hear it like it's a Merle Haggard feel. Pedal steel. I hear piano, honky tonk. I hear this. What do you think? And then we back and forth it, and then he'll do a rough draft. So there's a lot of that back and forth.
Hmm.
It's very collaborative. And then once we've got a basic track laid down, we'll invite our guitar player, say, Luca, can you put some pedal steel in? And then but so it's kind of like pottery. We keep spinning that
Hmm.
wheel and keep refining and refining it. And does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you're just trying to, add more to it, create more out of it, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Hmm.
And the key thing that I've learned about songwriting is that it's about continual refinement. So the song has
Hmm.
to fit. So the word has to fit with that note, with that chord. It's kind of like putting together a mosaic or something. You've got to find the right color of stone, the right shape of
Hmm.
stone, the right texture that fits just in that. And it's got to be easy to sing as a result. So if you hear, again, Merle Haggard or George
Hmm.
Jones or, Willie Nelson, the great writers find that perfect stone that fits. And so it's easy to sing the song. That just takes a lot of refinement, though. and that's the pandemic ironically gave me the time to really refine that.
So where can people find you on social media if they want to give you a follow, Pascal?
Well, we're on all the main channels: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Our website, pascaldennismusic.com, has got videos and interviews and links to all our songs. We're on Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon, and the rest. Again, pascaldennismusic.com will get you everywhere.
Wonderful. Is there anything that I forgot that you'd like to share?
Well, we've got a new record coming out July 31st. It's called Nicaragua Moon. The band is insanely great. I'm so proud of these young people, and our producer is great. So listen to that, listen for that. And if you're on Spotify or any other main online stores, there'll be lots of announcements, and on social media. We're gratified by the response. We're honored that people will listen to us, and we're thankful to you and to John, your producer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And again, I would like to thank Pascal Dennis for coming on the Kayden Gordon Show today's Best Country Mix. We appreciate your time so much for being here.
Thanks, Kayden. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day.